Hey, what's up guys, Tactiholics here, and today we're breaking down the Pitbull Tactical holsters. What we have is the Bloodline holster and the Bloodline Nocturnal. The difference being that the Nocturnal holster allows you to carry a weapon-mounted light attached to your firearm at the same time. But other than that, as far as the mounting options and the different capabilities of the holsters, it's going to be seamless. The really nice thing about these holsters is that they're modular. They go inside the waistband or outside the waistband, with countless different ways to make fine-tune adjustments to really fit them to your body and put it in a position that's most comfortable for you. So there's a lot of versatility, and you can potentially save a lot of money because you only need one holster system to move it outside or inside the waistband. So let's go ahead and take a look. Talking about the build quality and really the finish on these holsters, incredible. I mean, seamless mating of the kydex there. It looks like one piece of kydex. It is in fact two, but the craftsmanship that they put into finishing these things and really putting their attention to detail in here comes into play. And if you look inside the holster, you can actually see markings from the gun, from the decocker, slide stampings and stuff. So they get a really good tight finish on their holsters, and just shows you how well they try to fit each holster to the gun that you request it for. So oversized points here on the holster allow it to maintain its integrity. This is for the build quality of the holster. So they gave it a cool look and kind of trimmed the thing up without sacrificing any of the performance or compromising that holster's structural integrity. So all in all, great looking holster. I can't say enough about the finish of these things. I mean, when I opened the package, it blew me away. I think I actually asked him, probably naively, is this one piece of kydex or two? He laughed and said two, and they just take a lot of time to really make sure these things are nice and dressed up. But most importantly, they refuse to let stuff go out their door when you order a holster if it's not 100% up to their specifications. So there's a lot of care there, and that really is shown when you get the product in hand. So here we have the Bloodline and the Bloodline Nocturnal set up in my two primary modes of carry, being just no cant on the gun, as low down as you can get the firearm is where I prefer. It's where it's comfortable for me, for my draw stroke and everything. But you can see here we have the belt loops on the Nocturnal holster right there, and on this one, included with all the Pitbull holsters you're going to get, you have kydex wings with kind of a J hook, and this is what allows the holster to be used inside the waistband. Now if you look at the Bloodline here, some stuff is going on. We have this little screw down below. This is not a retention screw, that's an extra screw in case you lose one or you lose a piece of the screw, and we'll show you what all is involved there in a minute. But they give you some extra parts with it, which is really nice. And another thing that they did is all of the screws in the holster are flathead screws. So we have a flathead screwdriver here, which is all fine and good. If you don't have a flathead screwdriver with you, we also brought a dime, and you could put a knife or something in there. So if you're in the field or out on patrol or whatever the case may be, you are still able to completely service the holster with everything that they provide. It's already on your person. So we're going to change the Bloodline over to outside the waistband. We'll show you guys how easy that process is. Again, using a dime here to show just how field serviceable these holsters are. We figured we'd make this, kind of as realistic as it could be. So if you have a screwdriver handy, that's cool. If you don't, we got other options. So 2 screws in there. We have a couple rubber washers that we'll talk about in a minute. Your kydex paddle and J hook come off. couple rubber washers on there, and there you go. So it's as easy as that. We have different holes here for different ways to cant the firearm, whichever way you want to go, different ride height adjustment points. I mean, these things are all, this is all, you know, versatile, effective things that you can do with the holster. It's not, again, not just for looks or anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the belt loops and go ahead and mount those on. They have a fixed rivet inside of the belt loop, so you don't have to worry about that really falling out at all, really very easily. But you also have these rubber washers. Those need to go over the rivets, just like that. That's part of what helps tighten everything together and hold everything together. So you get your washers in place, line up the hole, and you can see how that rubber washer inside there, those things kind of crush down, and again, that's what applies pressure pulling out away from that screw to help the threads maintain their position, stay locked in place. One thing I will say right now is it's recommended by Pitbull, and if you've had gear, you know, that's come loose or anything over time, it's recommended that once you get this thing set up and you play around with it, find out how you like to carry it in all those different positions, throw some blue Loctite on there on the threads of the screws just to keep them from backing out a little, so they don't fall out on you. Go ahead and mount this one. That's all there is to it. We're ready to go outside the waistband, and it's done with a dime.
Alright guys, now we're going to take the Pitbull holster here with the outside of the waistband loops, and we're going to make it so that you can actually cant the holster. So this way, if you're riding in a car, if you're sitting down for long prolonged periods of time, you can actually make it a little bit more comfortable for you so it's not constantly digging into your side. In order to actually run the holster with outside the rigger's belt with the cant on there, if you're wearing a rigger's belt or a stiffer type belt, you're going to have to use the actual wing attachment so that you can help get the right angle so that you can get that belt through there. Once you get that screwed in, now you're all set up, you're ready for that cant on the weapon while you're wearing it.
Another thing that we came up with was taking the J hooks, which are predominantly in my case used for inside the waistband carry to come out, you know, outside that waistband, grab onto the belt. We flipped it around on the wing so you can actually make an easy on-off holster that's outside the waistband. Instead of having to feed your belt through these loops here, you have the ability to just slide the J hooks over your belt and back off. But one thing I will make note of, if you're using this as an outside the waistband holster and you want to use these hooks as opposed to the belt loops, at least in our case, you need to have the wing attached to the back side of the holster here where the grip of the handgun comes down. Otherwise, your grip is actually going to be hitting the J hook, and it's going to cause all kinds of problems. But what we did here, looking at this, we took the wing, stripped it down so we have our rivets and everything in here. We're going to push this rivet back out. Again, you have your selection of 3 different ride heights per wing to mount up to your J hook on any of those ride heights, just like that. A lot of versatility. And taking your belt loop, you can also position that in a couple different places and rotate that for a little bit more versatility. But for real extreme cants either way, or real deep slams on the holster or bringing it way up, you're going to have a little bit more flexibility with the J hook. For me personally, I prefer to keep these inside the waistband and use the belt loops for outside the waistband. But if you are in a position as a range safety officer, maybe you're going to a class or whatever your job dictates, or something you like to carry outside the waistband, you need that easy on-off capability, Pitbull has you covered. There you go. It's a really easy on-off outside the waistband holster system. You probably don't need, depending on the gun you're shooting, you probably don't need this wing on the front side here, but my personal preference is if I have one on one side, I like it on the other. These wings really help with inside the waistband carry because it helps spread your pant line just a little bit more, so you're not putting so much pressure right over where the gun rides and digging that gun into your hip or anything. But I mean, there's just endless versatility here. I mean, this thing's ready to go outside the waistband, quick and dirty.
Alright guys, time for a lady's perspective on these holsters. Aside from the fact that I'm shooting a very large double single action gun that I would never shoot, and eventually hopefully the one member of Tactiholics left not shooting a striker fire platform won't be for long, the holsters are very comfortable even on a smaller female frame. I chose to ride both the holsters a little bit higher up on my body than most people would probably initially think to do. With the curves and the way my clothes fit, it was much more comfortable to have the gun sitting up a little bit higher, kind of past the hips of my body. I could bend better with my hip bone not being in the way as much, and the holster sat very flat against my body, and it was still easy to have the draw stroke come out and come up on target with the holster there tight to my side. As far as the Nocturnal versus the Bloodline holsters are concerned, I personally don't really have an application or need for the weapon-mounted light system on there. So I would never carry either outside or inside the waistband the Nocturnal holster. It's just a little bit bigger. It still fit against my body nice and tight, very comfortable as far as the actual feel of the holsters are concerned comparing to each other. I just wouldn't ever carry a gun with a light on it, making it a little bit more cumbersome on my smaller frame and tighter fitting clothes. Overall guys, these Pitbull holsters are extremely comfortable. I would recommend them to anyone, guy or girl, that's looking to carry an inside or outside the waistband holster for their firearm. I found these extremely comfortable even though I was carrying a gun that is much bigger and heavier than what I would typically carry at any time in my life. They are extremely good fit for just about anything I can think of.
So guys, the Pitbull holsters, you know, they're very well constructed. You know, like Steve's mentioned a couple times, it looks like it's one piece of kydex when realistically it's only two. You've got all sorts of different versatility options as far as how you're going to actually wear this, either outside, inside, with a cant, without a cant, you know, higher, lower on your belt line. So overall, the Pitbull holsters, you know, if you're looking for one holster that does it all, this would be the holster to get.
There you have it, guys. Pitbull Tactical. I don't have enough good to say. Does that make sense? I don't know. Good to say. Yeah. There you have it, guys. Pitbull Tactical. I can't say enough good about them. Again, Rich, awesome guy. I'm sure the guys that work with them are fantastic as well. Their customer service is outstanding. And if you have a question about your holster or whether or not it's going to work for you or you really kind of want one, give them a call and they'll talk shop with you all day long. Really, really friendly guys down there. Outstanding craftsmanship. I've been carrying these holsters for quite a while. You've seen them used in videos. I've mentioned them used. I got a few months worth of using my 226 and my 229 in these holsters, and they have not let me down. I love how tight they hold the gun to your body, especially outside the waistband. With something like a SIG, you know, a heavy metal gun, it really is nice to keep some of that weight nice and tight to your body so you're not getting quite as fatigued. Inside the waistband, even with the Bloodline Nocturnal, that big flashlight housing on there with a big heavy frame gun, it's surprisingly comfortable. I was honestly shocked. And you know, the Bloodline by itself, no flashlight on the gun, outstanding holster. I think that this is the last holster you'd very well would have to buy. It's worth every single penny, and you won't be let down. Well, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to us here on YouTube. We'll keep the videos coming.
Stay dangerous, guys.
Keep it hot.
You never quit.